26 with 6.5 kids.
26 with 6 kids.
26 with 6 children.
At 26 with 6 kids,
Some of y'all just can't help it but to be mad at the next person and what they doing with their life. Baby, yes, I'm 26 with 6 kids and I'm doing the damn thing. I get up every day and make sure I do something productive around my house. I make sure that my kids see me cleaning up. I make sure that they do their part while they cleaning up. I used to think that everybody was right when they used to tell me, oh, why you got so many kids so young? It's gonna mess up your life. But baby, look, this is my life and I gotta deal with it. I ain't mad at the life that I chose. I chose it and I'm gonna do what I gotta do to provide for my kids the best way I can. And please don't get into me washing my mop in the sink. This is how I do it. This is how I see my people do it back in the day. And yes, I used to have a mop bucket. The kids broken, and that's just I gotta do what I gotta do.
In the fast-moving world of social media, where viral debate takes center stage, one recent conversation has sparked intense discussion about parenting, poverty, and the circle of struggle. A 26-year-old mother of 6 shared her reality online, and while some offered words of encouragement, others questioned the deeper societal patterns at play. But this isn't just about one person's choice, it's about a broader conversation on generational struggles, survival mood, and the expectations placed on young mothers, especially within the Black community. Today, we are diving deep into the TikTok discourse, analyzing the layers behind this discussion, and asking the tough questions. Is society enabling poor decision making, or is there a deeper systemic issue we need to address? Let's get into it.
26 with 6 kids and one on the way. 26 with 6 kids.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but you do not need to keep making a baby from every single relationship. Slow down, Savannah. I saw that video just now about this girl who's 26 with 6 kids. Oh, I was never properly loved, sis. That's because you don't love yourself. Some men know a desperate woman when they see one, and you're one of them. I'm not sorry to say that shit, and I don't give a fuck who got a problem with it either. I'm 37 with no kids. I'm not finna have that for myself, and not in today's economy either. If some of y'all got out the mud, cool. That's cool on you. But let's be real. You didn't really have it all the way straight when you got pregnant. If the one man not gonna be there, getting pregnant by another man, and he's not there either, sis, you're creating a cycle that needs to stop. And just because you have a baby, oh, you don't know what proper love is until you have a child. Bitch, you didn't even know what it was. And FYI, just because you bring a child in this world to love it, that child can turn around and not love you. Especially if that child finds out you done put them through all this bullshit. Nobody wants to be a baby mama. I'm not sorry to say that. I prefer to be a wife. And even if I got divorced, at least it comes with something. Versus being a baby mama, it don't come with much.
26 with 6.5 kids, and y'all focused on some dirty cabinets. I went down the comment section, and most of the comments were talking about her cabinets. While I'm sitting here thinking how you can be so irresponsible as a fucking adult to keep bringing kids in this world knowing that you cannot take care of them financially. And yes, I'm judging. I am absolutely fucking judging. Because that is not fair for you to keep bringing kids into this world knowing that you don't have the financial means to take care of them. You're setting these kids up for failure by bringing them into an environment where they cannot thrive successfully. And knowing that you don't have the financial means to take care of these kids and you keep popping them out tells me that mentally you don't have what it takes either to raise these kids. And this goes for both her and that man in the house. Because how are y'all keep bringing kids into this world and putting them in that situation willingly? I just don't see how people are so comfortable to keep bringing kids in this world knowing that they can't take care of them. It makes absolutely no sense to me. And it just seems like a selfish reason on their part.
So the video of the mom that's 26 with 6 kids, let's get into it. Because I have so many thoughts when it comes to this conversation. One of them being, I feel like everybody was thinking this too, that's a lot. When did you start? Did you start beforehand or after you turned 20? Like you just kept going, right? Second thought, why would your baby father, man, whoever he is to you, why would he feel so comfortable doing that to you in this economy, right? But after seeing the backlash, seeing the comments under her videos, I feel like the biggest thought that I have right now is when we say that Black people aren't a monolith, I think y'all tend to forget that that includes thought processing, upbringings, trauma, ideals. I feel like we tend to forget that. What I mean by that is a lot of times when we come at baby moms and baby mom culture, we tend to forget that they have a certain social economic status. With that being said, a lot of times people in poverty are living in survival mode. No, all the time. They're living in survival mode. Now you have a group of people that are living in survival mode all the time. Now let's factor in the fact that when you live in survival mode every single day, your nervous system is compromised because you are not meant to be feeling that feeling all the time. You're only meant to feel that feeling when you are impending danger, when danger is coming your way. That is not a normal feeling to have every single day, right? So let's put that over here. Let's factor that in. Let's also factor in how when you live in poverty, when you live in survival mode, you're often looking for escapisms. I feel like a lot of people think that escapisms starts and ends at drugs and alcohol. No, sex is involved. So now you have a group of people that are using that to escape. Now let's factor in, on this hand, living in a society that tells you that without having children, without having a husband, you have no value. And let's put all of that together. Now, am I saying I agree with having 6 kids at the age of 26? No, I am not, because there is no way you can give them all equal amount of attention. Well, in my opinion. I haven't seen it before, but she could prove me wrong. But what I am saying is, one thing that I've noticed being on this app is because we have so much accessibility to each other's lives, we tend to forget that we do not have the same life. And I think we also tend to forget so many different factors come into play in these kind of situations. And I feel like the fact that we keep ignoring that when it comes to baby mom culture or reproducing in general is such a nuanced conversation, that is a problem.
Y'all can say what y'all want. That 26 with 6 kids bullshit I've been seeing on my timeline is ridiculous. House filthy. Can't even say dirty. House filthy. You mean to tell me you didn't care enough about the environment that you were raising your kids in to say, hey, I need to grab a broom, a mop, some hot water, some bleach, some Comet, some Fabuloso, some spick and span, some something, until people in the comments started encouraging you and giving you likes and comments to do so? I want to say I'm surprised, but I can't even be, especially after that whole debacle with the Resilient Jenkins family. Yeah, you know, the one y'all did all that fundraising for, the one who had a grown-ass, able-bodied man who could go to work but did not. And what y'all get in the comments and say, oh my God, Mom, you got this. Dad, you got this. What's the Amazon wish list? What's the Cash App? Y'all did all this fundraising, and he didn't even want to put the bunk beds together when you purchased them. And when he did, he threw the shit together and put it in the kitchen beside the fruit bowl. Meanwhile, they laid up in the 1 bedroom in the apartment, making more kids they can't take care of. All that to get evicted. They took all y'all's money and still got evicted.
So there's a young lady here who's 26 and she has 6 kids. And what I'm about to say is not directed towards her. It's just her story made me think about it, especially being an educator. And what I want to say is that y'all, especially Black people, have to stop with the willful ignorance. Pretending that you can accomplish the same things with the same amount of ease as someone who does not have children young or does not have a lot of children is absolutely wild. You can absolutely be a teen parent and still do well. We've seen those people. You can have a lot of kids and you can still do well. Are some of your kids going to be messed up? Yeah, but you can do well. But are you going to struggle more? Yes, you are. Are you going to have a more difficult life? Yes, you are. Is it more likely that your children will have a more difficult experience? Yes, it is. And this isn't like opinion-based social comment. No, it's statistics. Whatever the parents do, the kids are twice as likely to do. If the parents are alcoholics, the kids are more likely to be alcoholics. If the parents are teen parents, the kids are more likely to be teen parents. If the parents are impoverished, the kids are more likely to be impoverished. That's just how it is. And on this app, we constantly see people who are already struggling and just continue to put themselves in worse and worse positions. And here y'all go in the comments, good job, mama. No, it's not a good job. You shouldn't have did that. Especially when it comes to the kids, because it's not just you. It's not a good job at all. Whatever you're experiencing, your kids are more likely to experience. You're already doing bad and you keep adding to it. And y'all in the comments just keep egging it on. And this is not geared towards the young lady who already has the 6 kids. She already has the kids. Ain't nothing we can do. And I pray for nothing but as much, health and prosperity for her kids as possible. But the people in the comments who are like, I had 12 kids by the time I was 14 and I'm still doing well. But imagine if you didn't have 12 kids by the time that you were 14. You would have done better. Until I got on this app, I never personally met someone who was a teen parent who wanted that for their children. And it wasn't until I got on this app, I saw that there were a lot of delusional people who want to make themselves feel better about their decisions, by justifying them for others. But in real life, so many teen parents in my family, and I never once said, yeah, I hope my daughter has a kid at 16. No, because they know. So the willful ignorance has to stop. We know that certain things make your life harder. We know that keeping a dirty ass house is going to have psychological effects on your kids. We know that having a whole bunch of kids is going to prevent you from giving each of them the attention that they need. We know this. So get out the comments saying, oh, well, it's not going to be that bad. Kids don't deserve not that bad. And the reason that people are trying to be honest about this and very frank about this is because we want you to have a better and easier experience. Can you make it while going through some of these extreme circumstances? Yes, you can. Why would we want you to go through the extreme circumstances?
So I just saw this video of this girl who is 26 with 6 children. And some people in the comments are saying that she's pregnant with her 7th child. And apparently she had, because when I looked at the video, she had her first child at 15, I believe it was 15. And then one child subsequently every year after, I believe, too. And originally I saw this because people were making fun of her cabinets because they were dirty. And I'm sitting here like, she has 6 children. I'm sure it's not going to look pristine. But I think about at 26, having 6 children and possibly a 7th child, like how on earth are you doing that? Like, I'm genuinely curious financially. Because when I think about, okay, for me personally, when I think about kids, I'm thinking about like all the things I want them to have for them to succeed, but also excel, especially as Black children, right? I want to make sure that they have tutors when they need it. I want to make sure that they're going to be ahead of their class or just at the top of their class. Like, what kind of extracurricular activities am I going to need money for? I think about, if it was me, if I had children, I would think about making sure they eat nutritious food, like organic, nutritious food, not too much processed stuff and not too much junk food and crap like that, because obesity, diabetes, and all that stuff are in the Black community is high, right? I think about trust funds. I think about CDs, accounts. I think about stocks. I think about making sure everyone has a portfolio, basically. And I think about life insurance. If something happens to me with 6 children, how they're going to be okay. These are just things I would think about, because I look at my mom, and she was working in the courthouse, had her own apartment, made very good money, and she had me, her first child. And unfortunately, she passed away 5 months after having me. And it was because she had given birth to me. She ended up with cardiomyopathy. So when I look at other people, I'm always amazed when they do it young, like how the hell are they doing it, right? Especially if you don't have a big support system or anybody at all. I wonder, like, if something, God forbid, happens to you, what's going to happen to your children? Like, some people may say, whose burden is it going to be now, you know? But 6 kids that young, I feel like you haven't even grown, but you're growing with the children that you have, and you didn't get a chance to even enjoy teenage years. Like, there's so many things you've missed or didn't learn or whatever because you had to raise children. I'm not knocking her or anything like that. I genuinely don't know how people aren't afraid of things like that, like getting ill, having emergencies, maybe the kid having emergencies, not being able to afford it. Maybe I'm paranoid. I just I personally have, one of the reasons I have not had children is because I'm afraid of having the same condition my mother had, which was brought upon by having me. So 26 is very young, and you never know what could happen. And also, you know, I personally just would want to make sure I could give my kids everything. Like, I would want to put them in immersion classes. I would want them to travel the world. I would want them to do so many great things before they turned 18, you know? I don't know how people with multiple children, especially in her case, how they're able to do that financially if they're not well off, you know? So it's nice that someone sent her detergent to clean her kitchen, but I wonder how the kids are how they're gonna fare. And also sometimes when you have a lot of children, you end up making the oldest child the babysitter, and then they lose some of their childhood too, because they have to end up helping. And I think I have a lot of people I know who are the eldest, and they resented that. So this is interesting.
26 with 6 kids. Let's talk about it. Now, I'm going to take a different approach, a different perspective, another angle that we should be looking at the situation. A lot of people are talking about either, oh, we should not be judging her. It's nobody's business. Excuse me. It's nobody's business. She's the one that has to raise the kids. The kids are happy, blah, blah, blah. Or some people are like, you're not a good mom. And, you know, just harping on it that way. And I agree with the people that say she's not a good mom. I'm sorry. I don't care what age you are, what financial bracket you are. 6 children, actually 7. She's 6 kids and 1 on the way. She's in poverty. And the whole situation is just horrible. But let's look at it from another angle, right? I watched one of her videos, and in the video, she stated that her kids are her family. She has no other family. I think, and this talking point is going to cover everybody. I think a lot of times we say, oh, it's no one's business. It's no one's business how many kids someone have. It is. It is. I don't think a lot of people think about what happens if you are no longer here. If you are no longer here, can the people around you, can your family member take in 7 kids? Who is going to take in 7 kids? Who is going to take in 7 kids? Nobody. Nobody. No one is going to take 7 kids. You made the choice to have 7 kids. Everybody else around you said, you know what? I cannot afford 7 children, whether it be financially, mentally, or physically. I cannot do 7 kids, so I'm not going to have 7 kids. I'm going to have my 2 and I'm going to stop. God forbid, knock on wood, something happens to my brother and his wife. I can take their 2 kids. God forbid something happens to me and my ex-husband. He can take 2 kids. His sister can take 2 kids. My mom can take 2 kids. Their godmother can take 2 kids. A lot of you are not considering what is going to happen to your children if something happens to you. What, foster care? Like, some of y'all are really out here popping out 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then looking at everybody like, it's none of y'all business, none of y'all business. My kids is happy. Y'all don't have no will. Y'all don't have no savings. Y'all assume that y'all are always going to be here. Y'all are not considering, if I am not here, who will be able to take care of my kids? Y'all be like, my kids is all I got. Who will they have if you're not here? No one considers that. Y'all don't have no will. Y'all don't have no savings. Y'all don't have no trust. Y'all have nothing. That is the part that always is in the back of my head. People are like, oh, well, my kids are happy and they're fed. You have nothing to leave to them in the event that you're gone. And you just popping them out, pop, 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 pop. So yes, they're in poverty right now, and you're working yourself to the bone to feed them. Oh, I'm doing everything I can as a mom, as a dad. I'm doing the best I can. When you're gone, is the person that's left to take care of them going to do the best that they can? Who is going to be left to take care of them? And I think that is the things that a lot of people are not thinking about. Like, everyone's like, oh, I deserve to start my own family. I deserve this. And I don't got no support system. I'm doing it by myself. Who is going to take these kids when you're not here? Who's taking 7 kids? You don't got no family. You have no support system. You have no money. You have no savings. You live in that small ass, dirty ass apartment. That is what I want people to start thinking about when they start screaming, they the ones taking care of the kids. They the ones taking care of the kids. Now, because I'm sure she don't have health care. Like, let's have an honest conversation. Let's have an honest conversation. Because how many people have lost their parents when they were young? And what did life look like when your parent that really took care of you, that loved you, that nurtured you, were gone? And some of these kids were parents that were doing decent. And what did that life look like when that parent left? So when y'all are screaming from the fucking rooftops that it's not going to be y'all taking care of these kids, it might be the system. It might be the system. And the system's already fucked up. So y'all are mad that we're the ones that saying don't have these kids, don't bring these kids into fucked up situations, are the ones that actually care. Because quality of life matters. Y'all, that's like, it doesn't matter. She can have as many kids as she want. As long as they're fed, it's okay. Y'all don't give a fuck about kids. I don't care what y'all say. People that think like that and talk like that cannot care about kids. Because I'm not saying don't have kids. I'm saying have your life together. Be able to feed your children. Be able to give them a stable and healthy environment. Because a lot of you know better and still do bad. because she's on her 7th child and she's already in poverty. She's already in poverty and chose to have another baby. And I don't want to hear shit about what about the man? Because we know there's no holding the man accountable. Because when you tell a man, hey, I'm pregnant, he could get the fuck out of here. He could be gone and never speak to you again. And we all know that. So I don't understand why I keep talking about, well, we're not holding the men accountable. Girl, shut the fuck up. Let's be serious. As women, we know that if you get pregnant, you can be left holding the proverbial bag, the baby. That is your responsibility. Stop having more than you can handle and stop having more than your village can handle. I'm not having any more kids because God forbid something happens to me. I don't want to overload my village. They didn't choose to bring these.
This discussion about the 26-year-old mother of 6 isn't just about her. It's about a much bigger issue that society keeps avoiding. The way people react to situations like this says a lot about how we view personal responsibility, struggle, and the role of social media in enabling or exposing certain behaviors. First, let's address the most obvious issue, the state of her home. A lot of people in the comments were pointing out how dirty everything was, and honestly, that is a valid concern. Struggling financially is one thing, but living in fifth is another. It's not just about appearance, it's about health, hygiene, and the environment those kids are growing up in. There are plenty of parents who don't have much money but still make sure their homes are clean. Poverty doesn't mean you can't wash dishes, sweep floors, or keep things in order. But we see this pattern where people use their struggle as an excuse for basic neglect, and when you call it out, you are labeled as insensitive. The reality is, those kids didn't ask to be born into this situation, and it's the parents' responsibility to make sure their living environment is at least decent. Now let's talk about encouragement. One of the biggest issues I have with how people react to these stories is the blind support. The comments are filled with things like, you got this queen, or stay strong mama. And while encouragement is great, it becomes a problem when it enables bad decision making. At what point do we stop and say, no, this is not okay? When does encouragement turn into enabling? Because here is the thing, this isn't just about one bad decision. This is about repeated patterns that lead to generational struggles. This woman has 6 kids at 26. That means she's been having kids constantly since she was a teenage. Where was the pause? Where was the moment of reflection? And let me be real, this isn't just about her. This is about a larger circle that we see repeated over and over again. The statistics are clear. Children born into poverty are more likely to stay in poverty. Children of teen parents are more likely to become teen parents. And yet, despite knowing this, people continue to make the same decisions, expecting different results. What's even more frustrating is how people justify it. Instead of acknowledging the issue, they point to real success stories. Well, my mom had me young and I turned out fine, but the exceptions isn't the rule. Just because a few people manage to break the cycle doesn't mean it's a good situation to be in. Survival shouldn't be the goal, striving should be. One thing that stood out in the TikTok video was the mention of survival mode. This is real. When people are in constant struggle, they make choices based on immediate relief rather than long-term stability. And a lot of women, particularly in certain communities, associate motherhood with purpose and validation. They don't think about whether they are in a position to provide for their children properly. They just see having kids as something that gives them love, attention, or a sense of meaning. But the harsh truth is, children hasn't therapy. They hasn't emotional support systems. They hasn't a way to feel valued. They are human beings who deserve stability, security, and opportunities. And when someone continues to have multiple children without financial or emotional stability, they hasn't just struggling. They are making life harder for those kids. And then there is the question of the fathers. A lot of people in the comments were asking, where is the dad? Or why would the man do this to her? But that is the wrong question. The real question is, why did she allow herself to be in this position repeatedly? Because this isn't about blaming one person, it's about recognizing patterns. If someone has 6 kids by multiple men, there were multiple moments where they could have made a different choice. But when society normalized struggle, especially for black women, people stop questioning it. They act like it's just something that happens rather than something that can be avoided. And that is dangerous mindset to have. Let's be clear. Single mothers can be amazing parents. Many do an incredible job raising children alone, but many more struggle unnecessarily because they were put in situations that could have been prevented. And when we refuse to talk about accountability, we set more young women up for the same hardships. Then that brings us to social media role in all of this. This entire conversation wouldn't be happening if the video hasn't gone viral. And that is the new reality we live in, where people broadcast their struggles online and instead of getting real help, they get attention. This isn't the first time we have seen this. We have seen it with GoFundMe stories, TikTok cry videos, and influencers who use their hardship to gain sympathy and financial support. And the problem with that is, money doesn't fix bad decision making. If someone keeps making poor choices, giving them financial assistance won't change anything. It just makes them depend on outside help rather than solving the root issue. Take the Jenkins family for example. People raised money for them, they got donations, and they still ended up back in the same situation. Because the problem wasn't just financial, it was deeper than that, and that is the conversation people doesn't want to have. The bottom line is, we have to start talking about personal accountability. We have to start having real, uncomfortable conversations about the choices people make and the consequences that come with them. If we keep acting like every struggle is just bad luck or an avoidable situation, nothing will ever change. People need to ask themselves hard questions. Am I in a position to provide for a child? Do I have the stability to handle multiple kids? Am I setting my children up for success or for struggle? And if the answer to those questions isn't a solid yes, then the responsible thing to do is wait, make better choices, break the circle, because at the end of the day, struggling through life shouldn't be the standard. We should be aiming for something better. And for those who say, well, I made it through and I turned out fine, imagine how much better your life could have been if you hadn't had this to struggle. Hardship isn't a badge of honor. It's not something to be proud of. It's something to learn from so the next generation doesn't have to go through the same thing. So instead of blindly encouraging people to keep going, let's start encouraging them to do better, to plan ahead, to think critically about their future, because that is the only way things will ever change. And that is where we will leave it today. If you find this discussion insightful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into trending topics. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think social media encourages poor decision making, or is there a bigger issue at play? Let's keep this conversation going. See you in the next one.